Hey there, Trekkies and Trekkers. How's it going? Brand new type of video for you. Something I'm not going to do probably too often. I have said I was going to start doing some commentary and review type stuff, which is essentially what this is. I decided that with Strange New Worlds ending season 2 last week, and we've got, about 2 or 3 weeks till Lower Decks season 4 gets started up. I wanted to get on here and I'm going to live dangerously and express opinions on the internet so that people can respond and be angry and mad and argue with me. So first of all, let's talk about the last couple of years of the new shows. Everything started back up with Discovery a few years ago, and I, like most of you, had a real rough time with season 1. The writing was really muddled that first season. It really felt like they had very little clue. It was like they obviously had an idea that they wanted to express, but they didn't know how to express it yet. And it took them a while to figure out what they were trying to, or how to say what they wanted to say. And season 2 really helped to clarify that, get that in line, straighten it up a little bit. And from that, we then proceeded to get Star Trek Picard, Lower Decks, Strange New Worlds, Prodigy, 5 shows running essentially simultaneously. Which, I'm like, if they had actually started to work this out right, we could have had brand new series, brand new shows, every single week, year-round. But they don't do that. Oh well. Or close to it. I mean, if each show, although I love the fact that Prodigy actually did do, I think, what was it, about 22 episodes? Something like that in total. Although, granted, they split them up over a year. It almost felt like 2 seasons, the way that there was such a huge gap between the first part of the season and the second part of the season. I am glad that season 2 will be happening in some form. I wish they would figure that out and let us know exactly what it's going to be. I'm suspicious that maybe they're going to distribute it more directly through Nickelodeon next year. I kind of wonder if they're going to maybe do a rebroadcast of season 1 or a first time broadcast of season 1 on Nickelodeon, the channel, and then immediately jump into season 2. And if that's successful, maybe they'll decide to actually allow a season 3 to happen. But I kind of suspect that part of the issue is that Paramount, they're like, hey, we're already sinking a lot into this franchise, and the Prodigy was not cheap. There's a reason that most of the cast is unknowns. They probably spent most of their production budget on what wasn't spent on the CGI for the animation was spent on a couple of those voice actors who guest starred. And Kate Mulgrew was probably the most well-paid person out of anyone, which I don't mind. I'm glad to have her back. I love Janeway. I'm excited to see the EMH back. He's one of my favorite characters. But anyways, that's really all I have to say about Prodigy. So I don't mind getting that way out of the way early. because I've not had a single issue with Prodigy since it started. I love the show. I don't even have issues with any of the writing. Nothing. It's been wonderful. Is it masterclass writing? No, it's intended towards kids, but there's some great stories there. It really fits into the ethos and the lore of Star Trek wonderfully. But getting back to Discovery, season 2 much better. Then about that same time as when we got season 1 of Picard, I liked a lot about season 1. I think I liked it more than a lot of reviewers and a lot of people that I've seen. I like because the story was good, but this is where we're going to get towards season 3 of Disco, Picard season 1, and then Picard season 2, which, Picard season 2, the story could have been fantastic. If you isolate the story that they developed for season 2 and got a really great novelist to convert that into a novel, it would be one of the best-selling Star Trek novels ever, probably. Because the story was great. The acting was great. It was the choice to, I heard somebody use this a while back, hobbitize. The way that they stretched that story over the 10 episodes. The way that the Hobbit movie really should have been one film, and they not only extended it out to 3 films, but extended it out to 3 films that were all well over 2 hours. I think the third one was nearly 4 hours long. I do enjoy the movies, but man, there was no reason to add that much additional content to The Hobbit. That's off track. And see, that was the thing with Picard season 1. They could have shortened it up a lot. They could have done a lot more with. They could have done so many more stories. But they chose to focus on this one thing. And did they do it well? Yeah, essentially. Did they get their point across on the story that they were telling? Absolutely. The acting was great, etc. I mean, and there was some fantastic performances. Marina Sirtis in season 1 of Picard, that might be the best performance I've ever seen her do. I mean, she's always been a great actress, but that was fantastic. There was so much more ethos and meaning put into the performance. Season 2 of Picard should have been a story that was about 3 episodes long. Basically, or, a two-parter movie that was done in 2 hour and 45 minute long movies. Basically, I'm saying it should have been about 3 to 3.5 hours tops, not 10. Because that story, dragging that out that long was a huge mistake. And I think that they learned from that when it came to season 3. Because season 3, the writing was a lot tighter. The fact that you got some of the old school people involved, I think, helped that. I think that the story of that they used for season 3 probably could have been a 9-episode arc instead of a 10. They could have trimmed a little bit there. Because, to be honest, around episodes about 7 and 8, I felt like there was a pretty decent amount of just stuff happening to have stuff happen. It wasn't really adding to the story. It was filler. But the bigger issue I had with season 3 was, well, for one, the blatant fan service was. Have you ever drank like a sweet tea, or had a cake that was made way too rich to the point that you just couldn't stomach it? Like I literally had one time that somebody had made sweet tea so god awful sweet that shortly after forcing myself to drink it, I then vomited it up. It was just too much sugar. That's kind of how I felt about season 3's fan service in Picard. It was too much. And I know this is going to be a big controversial one, because at the end of season 3, that scene where Picard and Crusher are going to drop off Jack at his new ship that he's going to be working on, that ship should have been named Picard. It should have been the USS Picard, not the Enterprise G. They should have left that thread open. The Enterprise F thing with Shelby, all that was great. They could have left that. We could that way later on if we wanted. The F could have been repaired. The fact that apparently Starfleet cycles through Enterprises now faster than they change uniforms is sad. So, yeah, it's... I know people are going to come after me on that. Oh, the Enterprise G, it's a great ship. No, the ship is cool. The Titan A was cool. Again, the fact that apparently they changed Titans almost as frequently as they change uniforms. Like, that's in Discovery Season 3 when they had the Voyager, what was it, J, I think? I don't even remember now. That's 1,000 years in the future. Or, well, 800, or 700 or 800 from the time of Voyager, 700 from Voyager. The idea that there would have been that many Voyagers by then, I'm okay with. But you don't go through that many Enterprises. Come on. I mean, there was 20 years that there wasn't an Enterprise period between the C and the D. I'm going on a tangent now. So, there was, the fan service was much, but on the story, the one issue I had was it felt like they were trying to do some metaphor work that got mixed up. Like, they weren't entirely clear precisely what metaphor they were trying to go with. And it got confusing on what the end message was. I'm not going to dig into that too much right now, but it's easy to overlook it because the rest of the writing was wonderful. Just especially with what they were trying to do with the Borg, which, first of all, why they started off the show as being that the founders were back, and then in the third act, they just suddenly be like, nope, it's the Borg. That was annoying. they should have come up with a better third act in general. That's the biggest thing for me. Worf was awesome through the whole thing. I enjoyed that, but so let's talk about Strange New Worlds. Season 1 was amazing. I loved pretty much every episode. I did have a bit of an issue with I can't remember the name of it now. The one where the whole fantasy thing with M'Benga's daughter. I felt like that was an episode that it didn't accomplish the story that they think it did. They had been setting up something far better for the storyline for his daughter, and then they were just like, oh, magicked it away, and she's gone, and especially now in season 2, as they're really exploring the fact that he has some rather extreme PTSD. The way he got over losing his daughter makes that episode even worse. Honestly, in retrospect, it's like, oh, I lost my daughter. Oh well, he had been working too hard trying to find a cure so that he could have his daughter back in his life. To have it magicked away the way it was weak. It just that was weak to me. That was the weak sauce. Season 2, way better. There's not an episode in season 2 that I have that much of a problem with the way I did with that one. The only episode of season 2 that I thought was weak was the charades, the one where Spock and T'Pring have their parents come on board and they do the ceremony and Spock becomes all human. It was a silly episode for silly's sake. I don't know. Yes, we got some character development with Spock and with Chapel, but a lot of it felt forced. It didn't feel like natural character development, which is why I think I didn't care for the episode as much. It was the writers, they were like, well, we've got to make these things happen to get our characters here. So we're just going to force it. The Lower Decks crossover episode 100. Fantastic. That was an amazing, amazing episode. The episode with the Klingon general who had come on board as an ambassador, and that's when we really learned about a lot of M'Benga's PTSD. You know, we'd gotten some of it earlier in the season, but that one, that one, I am honestly, it's been, about 3-4 weeks since that episode came out? Maybe, I don't even remember, I lost track. And I'm still kind of analyzing the ending of that. And I've read some stuff from other people online, and I think it's the fact that they chose to not show us the fight. That ambiguity kind of as a viewer leaves me unfulfilled. Because I understand why M'Benga did what he did, reacted the way he did. But the fact that either the writer or the directors or somebody decided to foggy up the ending annoys me a little. I'd rather have that clarity, because the way that fight went down really does make the difference between, is the Doctor just a good man who was put in the wrong position, or does he have an actual psychological issue that he's not dealt with? I mean, obviously he has. He's got PTSD. But yeah, that I want that clear. Anyways, I did like that episode really well overall. To backtrack one real quick, the episode where everybody's losing their memory, that whole thing of, I am Ortegas, I fly the ship, that was dumb. The rest of that episode's great, but I feel like they could have... I feel like they wrote themselves into a corner to where they had to pull that. And it was just kind of annoying. And the fact that now we get to the musical episode. And in one of the first songs that they do, they have her say that she's Ortega's and she flies the ship. That's not funny. That's bad lyrics. I really did like the episode overall, but there was some really poor choices in the lyrics in a couple of those songs. The song that Chapel sings about how she's ready to move on and do the next thing in her life, really like that. That fits with the character they'd been developing, and no notes. It was a fantastic song. Spock's I Am the Ex broody, which this is the bad thing. Most musicals, the main character's broody romance arc song is one of my favorites. And this one, it just didn't hit. It didn't feel right. It just, I cannot put my finger on it, but the lyrics felt forced. Last note, as someone has been in some musicals, I felt some of the choreography was a little odd choicey. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like the shark that was doing his own dance in the background, which I don't know, that might have been a little more amusing. It was just, there was some interesting choreography choices that I don't know were necessary. Some were fantastic, but some were questionable. But before we get to the last episode of the season, and I talk about that real quick, my biggest complaint with season 2, if this ever happens to get to any of the execs or writers or whoever at Paramount, before y'all get into season 3, either hire a new sound editor or talk to whoever's doing it currently and tell them to get their crap together. Because too many episodes this season, the music has been way too freaking loud, or the sound effects, or something. Like, I don't need the noises from the background overriding what Spock's saying. And then I have to turn on the subtitles in order to understand what's being said between characters. And the fact that then in the musical episode, there was a few times that mouths did not match up with vocals. And I'm not the only one who said this, so I know it wasn't just me. So I really think that they need to look at their sound editing, because there's been a lot of issues with sound this season. Now, as far as the season 2 finale, again, fantastic. I love so much about that. I know a lot of people are like, it was a rehash of the whole Gorn episode from season 1 and the alien, alienness of it. But I like the setup that they're doing. I'm going to put my foot down right now. All the people online who are saying that Captain Patel is going to die or she should die, fuck you. First of all, what did that actress do to you? My God, she has been fantastic in every episode she's been in. The writing for her character has been a little bit, why was she a lawyer? Don't understand that. Whatever. But overall, the character and the actress have been wonderful. And the idea of just killing her because Pike needs to be more upset about something, no. It's cliche. It's honestly a little bit sexist. Because it's like every Bruce Willis movie, his wife dies. But, they don't do that to the female action heroes. If you're not familiar with it, look up fridging. It's such an old trope. The idea that, the detective or the cop or the soldier comes home and finds their girlfriend or wife dead and, their head's in the fridge or something, and that's what causes them. I mean, it's the Punisher. It's so many. No, we don't need that. There's nothing wrong with the character at this point. There's nothing wrong with the actress. You're just trying to kill someone for the sake of doing it, and that's not going to motivate what you think it will. I am worried that maybe one of the other crew members could end up on the chopping block. Especially considering that they did a lot of character development on Lon this year. And she's one of the ones who got picked up at the end of that episode. Not going to go too deep into a spoiler territory. But, I mean, obviously, M'Benga, he's not going to get killed, because we know that he's got to be around later. But, and same with Sam Kirk. He's supposed to be around later. But, if Lon happened to die. I can see happening a little more. Like I said, they've done a lot of character development on her in the season 2. All I'm really going to say about Lower Decks is I love the show. It is all of the goodness of Star Trek wrapped up in wonder and joy and fun, and I love it. And I'm looking forward to season 4. Can't wait to see what they pull out this year. It's going to be fun. And I hope they start making toys for the freaking show soon. I want my Mariner figures, goddammit. But I've hit over 30 minutes. I was thinking 10 minutes, and I'm over 30 now. So that's really all I'm gonna say. I just wanted to talk Star Trek for a few minutes. I'll probably do more videos like this, especially because I've had some thoughts. I read a really interesting article earlier comparing the state of Star Trek currently to the state of Star Wars, which I have kept up with most all of the Star Wars stuff recently, and which Andor, holy crap, that is to me the best thing Star Wars has done since Empire. That's probably going to piss off a few people, but that was original storytelling. That was keeping story arcs no longer than they needed to be. Like that season, I mean, it was what, 10 episodes. I think it was broken up into about 3 major stories, maybe 4, where they had an arc that happened. It lasted over like 3-4 episodes, and then they kind of start a new story arc. That's my thing. Going back to Disco and Picard, that's one of the big things they needed to learn. Is you don't need to stretch those story arcs out just for the sake of stretching it out. Tell it in the appropriate amount that it needs. If you need 2 episodes to tell a story, don't spend 5. Do the 2 episodes and move on. And, next, go see what the Romulans are doing. Go visit the Breen or something. It's... Hopefully, and unfortunately, Discovery is going to be ending after Season 5, which is supposed to start up later this year. I don't remember when. Hopefully Season 5 is a lot better. I'm afraid it's still going to be long arc storytelling, which it's fine. We'll get through it. It'll be, character development and all that fun stuff. But, yeah, I didn't mean to spend quite so much time. If you've watched all of this, here's your gold star. So, yeah, that's going to be it for now. And you can respond as much as you want. Be respectful, and I'll be nice and respond. You come at me being a jerk, telling me I don't know what I'm talking about, or complaining about singing Klingons, and I might block you. the Klingons was hilarious. That is the funniest thing that has ever happened in Star Trek, damn it. Get over it. That's a whole other... I might next week do a whole video about why Klingons are not what you think they are. This has been something I've been thinking about for a while. Because everybody thinks, oh, the warriors and the honor and the glory. And I'm going to save it. So, thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
If you enjoy my videos and want to see more, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Also, you can support the show by signing up on Patreon, or head over to Zazzle to pick up prints of my artwork, prints on canvas, t-shirts, and other merch. You can find me on social media. For more information and updates on the channel, all info is below. If you didn't enjoy the video, why are you still here? Do you want a song? Ba, ba, black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, them, 3 bags full. One for the master who can screw himself. You can listen to somebody else.